Boston. I always called it a mini New York before coming here, but there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. Coming from a mixed Asian American kid who grew up in suburban Connecticut, any place in the city seems really cool. But you look online and ask most people where to visit, they'll say, oh, go check out the harbor, oh, the hall, or any really historical landmark. Don't get me wrong, these places are all great, but there's something about discovering somewhere for yourself in these concrete jungles. Something special and interesting on a personal level. I feel as though every city and every town has some hidden gem of history somewhere, and there's someone out there who will find it, research it, and appreciate it for what it is. And it could be gone just like that, taken over by a new wave of culture. Every place is bound to change at some point, both in culture and development. And who's to say whether it's for the better or worse, so soon in advance? And that's what Brighton Ave is to me. Now let me show you. Brighton Ave is a central street bridging the Brighton and Allston areas. It's easy to call the whole city all the way to the shore of Boston, but there are very well sections. The unique thing with all of Boston here is the surplus of Asian culture and people. This was a place many immigrants from Asian countries landed, with it being such a big seaport. After a change in refugee policies in the 1960s, with the passing of the Immigration Act of 1965, I believe Brighton Ave is a great representation of this. This is probably one of the first places that Asian culture touched in the area, the Golden Dragon. It opened around 1960, and it was your first taste of Asian American cuisine around here. This sparked a whole shift here, and where it seemed like as the world gentrified and moved elsewhere, immigrants were able to create their own businesses here.
We from Vietnam, from 1993, and I come here something everyone, like $0 in pocket.
Stories like that of Hoy's remind me of my mother, who moved in around the same time. The difference here is that rather than fully assimilating into society as mere workers, they create whole places that serve as echoes of their previous home. You can see how far it's expanded down this road. Barbershops, karaoke, restaurants, convenience stores. One of my favorite places here was a hot pot place. I'd never had hot pot before I came to the city, and you don't get many places like that back in my town. A lot of the time you need this cultured urban environment to see these places. A Super 88 like this one is probably a staple in an Asian community in an urban area. This one is not only a big supermarket, but it has a food court where businesses come and go. One new installment here was Grasshopper Vegan, but they're not exactly new to the area.
Been open for 27 years.
27 years?
Yeah. With all location at one price, one not because.
Yeah, that's like right down the road by Twin Donuts, right?
Correct, you're right.
Yeah.
That corner. And after that, like we have no more land over there, but we move over.
So, wait, so what happened? You
over there, like the owner, they connect with the now the restaurant, they connect to owner, and they kick me out.
Oh, they kick you out, and so you set up here. Not all were stored up shortly after they moved here, I learned. There was a period of time in the 1990s where it seemed like another wave of Asian immigrants came to America, and even some of the businesses here had rotating owners, some being passed from immigrant to immigrant. But that's not to say the culture isn't changing.
So I worked for State Street Bank for over a decade. I would say 12 years. So I talked to my wife, like, you know what, it's just like so tiring of me going back and forth, especially the driving from where I live to North Quincy every day. I have to go back and forth. I probably on the road for like 3 hours. And then she was like, you know, why don't you start something new? You know, why don't you just like look into something, open the business. And then during that time, Timoji was owned by Ivy. And then, you know, and then we usually go to the grasshopper. And then we stop by, and Ivy talked to my wife. And like, yeah, we're looking for people to sell our business or to partner. And then my wife said, you know what, this is a great idea. You know what, how about we partner with you? And then she was like, you know, if you want, we can just take over. Like, yeah, we can do that as well.
Timoji, which is still run by King, had relocated to Woburn after finding itself in the same situation as Grasshopper. The location where Grasshopper and Timoji were is now occupied by a single entity called Lazuri. The owner, Kanan, declined being on camera, however expressed that his family business on Brighton Ave were meant to serve as inclusive places for those from the nearby colleges seeking halal foods and Turkish cuisine. Still, me and some of my friends who live in the Alston area were sad to see Timoji go, and expressed their love for the avenue as well. How would you describe, I guess, the atmosphere, the culture of Brighton Avenue?
I think it's fairly fun. Everybody keeps to themselves a decent amount, but you could kind of feel that it's like, it feels kind of homey, you know? Because you could tell it's a lot of self-made businesses, and it's a lot of places where you can meet the same people, and it's just it's interesting. Also, it's interesting. It's like walking around.
Brighton Ave more so is full with a bunch of different like Asian cultures, because you have all of the different students from BU or BC, even people coming in from like inside the city, Northeastern. So it's a large mixture of Asian cultures, and I've always been more in touch with that side of my heritage than the other side. So I'd frequent places with all my Asian friends usually. Timoji obviously was a spot that I would frequent heavily with all of my different friends. Anytime anyone wanted to hang out or we were gonna meet up, that was like the third place to be at. And even right next door, there was Roxy's. A solid variety of places to eat. Now more so though, it honestly varies way more now, but usually just finding a boba shop to be at for the time, or just hanging out at 88, going to like Ishindo for ramen maybe.
Though there are many places that still remain, there has been a slow shift in the type of shops and culture. More thrift and secondhand stores open in some of the smaller lots, and you even get some small import shops as well. Harvard Ave, coming right from the Boston College T-stop, is where a lot of the college and outsider traffic comes in from. You could probably make a separate documentary on Harvard Ave, but once you touch this intersection, these buildings really catch the eye. I learned some completely new things upon starting this project. I was chatting with an employee at the game shop here named Narvicto, and he was telling me a lot about some of the local places as well as the nature of the newer ones moving in. Keep Alston weird was the slogan he used, and he pointed me towards a lot of the graffiti art around the area. It isn't just the Asian culture that is mainly in focus here that helps make this place so interesting to me. It's the fact that this culture exists here, mixed in with these old neon signs and street graffiti. I find it compelling how you can still see some of the old places like this church that's been shut down and turned into housing. One of the older places was a donut shop at the end of the street here, Twin Donuts, that actually just closed on March 29th. Just missed the opportunity for an interview. It had been open for 75 years, and a lot of people on the block have lamented its closure, with many even petitioning that the next owners leave the sign up. A place as old as that really shows the age of this area. Should an area with such a rich culture and history be shafted for these modernized chain shops and restaurants? The thought that provoked my little project here in the first place. Or even, should this place go through another culture change? Is it good for places to be constantly changing in culture? At the end of the day, maybe a documentary like this one, or photos from days gone by, can preserve memories of these areas and the cultures they once housed.